What's up, everybody? Jasper Gonzo here. Another What's Next. Happy Tuesday. Well, the Joe Rogan saga continues. Spotify, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell. Goes round and round and round. Now, after Rogan came out and responded, it seems that Spotify has moved the goalposts, changed the rules in the middle of the game, if you will. Now Spotify will put a disclaimer in the beginning of any podcast referencing COVID. And of course, everybody says, well, you know what? Thank you, Joe Rogan. Or shall we say thank you, Neil Young. Yes, Neil Young got his music pulled, but at the same time, Neil Young says, I got to win here. Now, he may be correct. But at the same time, after Rogan came out and made his comments, a lot of people are looking at Rogan as saying, well, it seemed that Rogan took a step back. In my last video, I kind of mentioned that. But we're going to take a look at Rogan's response video. And then we've got another player stepping into the game. No, his music is not on Spotify, but he's well known, and only now has he decided to show himself and say, I got your back, Joe. But did he really? Let's take a look. This, of course, this is all Instagram. And this is Joe Rogan's response regarding Spotify and Neil Young.
And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support.
Now we're going to play the entire clip. It's about 10 minutes long. You can catch it on Instagram, of course.
First of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines.
True.
Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms.
Absolutely correct. How many people have gotten demonetized and thrown off the platform because of coming out with factual data?
You would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN.
And the efficacy
If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those 2 men that I had on my podcast.
They were all considered
conspiracies. Been accused of dangerous misinformation.
When Rogan
I do not know if they're right. I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist.
Before they mentioned them,
I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it because I'm interested in telling the truth. I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions. I'm not interested in only talking to people that have one perspective. That's one of the reasons why I had Sanjay Gupta on, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who I respect very much, and I really enjoyed our conversation together. He has a different opinion than those men do. I had Dr. Michael Osterholm on at the very beginning of the pandemic.
Gupta actually agreed.
He is on
the
President Biden's COVID-19 advisory board.
Dewormer issue with CNN
Dr.
that they
Peter
threw on Joe
Hotez
Rogan,
who
and
is a vaccine expert.
He
I'm
called him out on it.
interested in
He called the group
finding
out on it. He
out
called
what is
CNN on it, calling
correct
them a bunch of
I'm
liars.
also finding out how people come to these conclusions and what the facts are. One of the things that Spotify wants to do that I agree with is that at the beginning of these controversial podcasts, like specifically ones about COVID, is to put a disclaimer and say that you should speak with your physician and that these people and the opinions that they express are contrary to the opinions of the
Spotify.
consensus of experts, which I think is.
Now, I will give my response to that comment after this, but we're going to go to this story. This comes out of Breitbart. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson voices support for Rogan after he pledges to change podcast strategy. Yes, only after The Rock has now said, "I've got your back. I weigh in. I've got your back, Rogan." Prior to this, chirp, chirp, chirp. Hollywood star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson voices support for Joe Rogan after the famed podcaster said he would change his coronavirus messaging strategy after Spotify announced its new content advisory rule. In a statement on Sunday, Spotify CEO and co-founder Daniel Ek, said the company will do more to, quote, provide balance and access to widely accepted information for the COOF and by adding a content advisory notice to any program that discusses issues with the pandemic. Quote, "These are the rules of the road to guide us of all creators, for those we work with exclusively. To those who work is shared across multiple platforms," X said in a statement. "It's become clear to me that we have an obligation to do more to provide balance and access to widely accepted information from the medical and scientific communities, guiding us through this unprecedented time." In response, Rogan said that he supported Spotify's decision that he would try to include more establishment voices to contrast his, quote, more controversial guests like Dr. Robert Malone and Alex Berenson. Really? How controversial are they when they have been proven to be factual? Now facts have become controversy. Like there's only two genders. That's now controversial. Being that that's scientifically and biologically correct and genetically correct. But that's just me. Commenting on the video, Dwayne Johnson said Rogan's response was, quote, perfectly articulated and offered to have a drink soon. Quote, "Great stuff here, brother. Perfectly articulated. Look forward to coming on one day and breaking out the tequila with you," he said. Rogan had previously spoken positively to Dwayne Johnson on a show, saying that he would vote for him if he would run for the prez. "Back in 2020, I'd vote for him. I get behind him 100%. I'm all in for The Rock." In response to Rogan's comment that he is for a disclaimer in the beginning of any podcast, not just his, it's going to be general across the board, that anybody who talks about COVID pretty much says this is their opinion, these are their guests, and does not, shall we say, is not kosher when it comes to Spotify's decision. This is not Spotify saying we agree. This is saying that the podcaster, this is their opinions and not that of those of Spotify. Now, when it comes to before I say anything about The Rock in regards to that, Rogan, a lot of people felt that he's taken a step back. I kind of mentioned that, like I said in the beginning of this, that he was taking a step back in regards to, I'm kind of giving in. A lot of people are looking at that as Rogan taking a step back. Rogan, who has no fear about telling people where to get off, all of a sudden now, I don't know. Was it a good thing? Leave that to you. You be the judge of that. When it comes to The Rock, it's funny how you heard nothing of The Rock. The Rock has said squat about Rogan during this whole instance. Neil Young, Joni Mitchel, nothing about this. All of a sudden now, here comes The Rock going, "Yeah, brother, great job. Let's have a tequila soon." Come on, dude. Really? Come on. Remember, this is the same guy who backed Joe Dementia and Kamala Lay Down Harris. even though prior, back in 2000, he supported George W. Bush. And there you go. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borgonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.